Welcome to the SVG-TV News for Thursday, February 10th. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. Over $200,000 EC are expected to be paid out in compensation for farmers who will be affected by the Richmond Quarry project. This is according to Minister of Urban Development Julian Francis, who at a news conference earlier today said the figure is based on the preliminary evaluation and that persons will be compensated for crops, not lands.
Value of crops on the ground. Remember this is government land. A lot of the leases there are not active, but farming was active. We have leased them out, and the figure for compensation between the farmers who will be affected is somewhere around $200,000. That's a preliminary valuation. This now has to be discussed with the farmers because the trained persons in valuing land, and I will say that they range from about 45, maybe $40,000 down to $1,000.
According to Minister Francis, upon completion of the evaluation, more persons have been included to receive compensation, and the next step is to meet with the affected farmers.
We have achieved that far. This now has to go through discussion with the farmers and identify these names to the lots, to the leasehold persons who have the lease, match them, and then we figure out, because these are more lots than what Reno is leasing. The names that are on this lot, they come up to about 25 areas that they feel will be affected by the quarry, but Reno has access and has leased 12 or 11 lots.
The St. Lucian company, Reno, will be leasing 58 acres of land for 30 years to operate the Richmond Stone Quarry. And according to Minister Francis, the main aspect of the project will commence in about a month's time.
Then to cut tracks. There's no quarrying has started yet. No quarrying has started, and it wouldn't start. That quarry will not become functional and producing until about 10-12 months from now, because you have to build and lay out, set up the equipment. The concentration is to build the pier so you can get your heavy equipment in and your fuel, spare parts, everything else to start the quarry, to lay it out and to start the quarry operation. However,
and Minister Francis said the quarry in the Richmond Quarry project is an investment of $30 million, which was carefully sorted out, noting that the area identified for the project is on government lands. He also gave the assurance that the Richmond beach will not be impacted in a negative way, even though the pier will be built on a section of the waterfront south of the river mouth.
The operations of Reno will not encroach on Richmond Beach, except in the area where the pier is being built close to Cavalli Rock, which is south of the river mouth. Those of us who know Richmond River, it varies with the seasons of the year which way it exits into the sea. Sometimes it goes across the beach and then goes down into the sea. Sometimes it runs straight down. Sometimes it veers to the left and exits into the sea. But there's absolutely no encroachment in the river mouth, or Richmond Beach, or Walibu River. None of the mahogany trees and other trees that are there on the Richmond Beach will be touched. The barges, the roll-on, roll-off, will come in, go to the pier. He will be driving off of his leased land on lot 113, which I'll point out here just now, and go straight onto his pier that he is building.
Minister Francis said that all expenses will be covered by the company carrying out the quarry project and that the government will receive $12,000 yearly for the lease.
Government is putting absolutely no money into this project. We are supplying the lease, and for your information, the lease is $12,000 per year. But there are other income coming to the government, and I'll touch on some of those. So his land, basically, this is Cavalry Rock here. He has 113, 116, 117, 118, 119. And there is a what they call a grass reserve between here that goes right down to the beach. That was never surveyed because of, they didn't think it was worthwhile for farming. That's my information. And then you have 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 110, and 111. These were the two that they, remember when I read out the conditions of approval? 110 and 111 is supposed to be that green buffer zone. So there's no heavy stuff going on under there.
Minister Francis said the quarry project is a worthwhile project, noting that some sacrifices have to be made for development to take place.
Of mining beyond that ridge, because we don't want to spoil the seascape. We have to sacrifice some things for development in this country. The area is a very beautiful area, but stones exist there, and it's practical to get them out and get the aggregate sufficient for our needs and for export. And I want to touch on that aspect of it, because we have been importing aggregate inside this since 21. Reno, in his declaration, in his interview with Kenton, said that
Francis said the Reno company will receive tax concessions on the importation of the needed equipment for the project. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzalez has announced that a shelter and disaster warehouse will be built by the U.S. authorities here. He said that the U.S. Southern Command will be building the warehouse in Barely.
The embassy is pleased to announce that the United States Southern Command Stabilization and Humanitarian Assistance Directorate has hereby awarded the contract for the construction of NEMO's Shelter and Disaster Relief Warehouse facility at Barely. The Naval Facilities Engineering Command Southeast, Jacksonville, Florida, and United States Contractor Strategic Consulting Alliances, Crisfield, Maryland, will design and handle the oversight of the project. The Strategic Consulting Alliances will be subcontracting some of the work to local contractors.
The Prime Minister said arrangements are being made to have the old Barely School building prepared for works to commence next month.
They want to start sometime in March and finish hopefully by the end of July next year. You know, I want to thank the U.S. government for this contribution to our strengthening our resilience. You know, we have built, as you are aware, we have built warehouses, satellite warehouses. We have built one in Belmont down in North Leeward. We have built in Georgetown. We have built in Noel, in Sandy Bay. We have built in Beckway. We have built in Union Island. You know, I think those are the ones we have built.
The government has built several warehouses across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which the Prime Minister said will be boosted with the new disaster relief warehouse in Barely.
So I'm very happy to see we'll have one down in Barely. And this is where the old secondary school is located. But there are 4 persons who are in one section of that old secondary school. The NEMA has already requested that social development move them out now. So we'll sort out that. That's not a big problem to sort out. The public officials will deal with that because, you know, we have an established policy in these matters already. So but they need to get that done.
A classroom ceiling at the Kingstown Technical Institute collapsed today while class was reportedly in session, causing panic amongst those present and quickly drew attention across social media platforms. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Industrial Relations Officer of the St. Vincent Teachers Union, Andrew John, said what happened today highlights the urgent attention that the institution requires as persons' lives are at risk.
On a larger scale, this could have been a catastrophe or a disaster. So we are urging the authorities to pay some attention to the building. This building here is not a very old building. It just needs repairs. So we are encouraging them to do some repairs to the building, right?
Despite the condition of the institute, John said they are thankful that no one was injured.
Inside the ceiling on the inside of the roof, which had actually fallen down. The class, that class was in session, but the children were not under that section because it was obvious that they were going to fall, right? And so nobody was injured, luckily, right? What we are saying from a union standpoint is that it shows that there is need. There is need for urgent attention to be paid to our educational institution. We cannot afford the neglect because we risk injury to our students.
Executive Director of Invest SVG, Annette Mark, says the entity is planning several meetings with supermarkets and other business places in Dubai which have shown interest in importing products from SVG. Mark has been in Dubai for almost a month, preparing for St. Vincent and the Grenadines National Day on February 14th, when everything SVG will be on showcase at the 2020 Dubai Expo. In a telephone interview with SVG-TV News from Dubai, Mark said that she and her team have been meeting with a lot of persons who are interested in investing in SVG.
On display in the pavilion, we do have a lot of products from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There are a number, very popular are our sauces, in particular our pepper sauces, our marinades. They are very popular. As a result, what we have seen is a number of people coming into the pavilion asking and buying the products, actually, asking about them. There are 3 supermarkets that have approached us, and we had to set up meetings to speak to them and put them in contact with the companies in St. Vincent, because they're very interested in bringing the products into Dubai. Also, we do expect that then there's some other products that they are interested in also, but I don't particularly want to really say exactly what they are, because I want the talks to start before we say exactly what they are. Once those start and they get to a particular point, we will then say, yes, these are the products that are of great interest.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzalez and his delegation left the state yesterday and will be leading SVG's Day at the Expo. Mark outlined some meetings and different activities that they have already scheduled for the Prime Minister when he arrives in Dubai.
Okay, so when the PM is here, we're going to be engaging a number of people in meetings, high-level delegation meetings, as a matter of fact. We will be meeting with the Minister of Tourism, Minister of Civil Aviation. We're going to meet with the ruler of Dubai, ruler of the UAE, of Abu Dhabi. And there are a number of other persons that want to meet with the PM while he's here. Then there's an official dinner in the evening where a number of persons have been invited. Again, between 40 to 50 people have been invited to the dinner. So we have a variety of persons from different walks, different backgrounds, and we sort of try to be very strategic as to who we invited where, so that the Prime Minister, to give as much leverage and as much time for the Prime Minister to meet and speak with people.
Mark further outlined some of the activities for SVG's National Day on February 14th.
Over the Expo, on that day we have a number of events. We're going to have an investment forum in the morning where we have about 30 to 40 persons that have been invited, trying to keep it very selective and focused. Then we're going to have our National Day celebrations in the afternoon. That's where they will raise the flag of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and also play the national anthem. Then, of course, there will be a cultural presentation and a couple of speeches. It is our day, and we will have other performances. So apart from that, there is what we call Smooth 1 and Smooth 2, that in the evening, and there are live performances again by a number of our artists. I should say to you, though, that we're trying, well, I'm not sure if those shows will be covered live, but we are working to try and get them covered live. But
at London's Heathrow Airport, Prime Minister Gonzlez, who is en route to Dubai, said he's looking forward to being part of the 2020 Dubai Expo.
Well, the trip was quite good, uneventful. There were really no delays, and we got in on time this morning. And I've just done my PCR test for Dubai, because we go tomorrow early evening to Dubai. I get my result this afternoon. We have a hectic schedule for Dubai. Matters are pretty well arranged, I've been advised. And today I'm just going to stay and have some writing to do, some things to prepare, and just cool out until tomorrow or the evening when I go there to Dubai.
Active COVID-19 cases in SVG are down to 132 with 14 recoveries. The latest COVID-19 update provided by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment indicates yesterday 2 new PCR and 7 new rapid antigen cases have been recorded for the reporting period. 11 persons are hospitalized, 3 fully vaccinated and the other 8 unvaccinated. 101 persons in SVG have died from COVID-19. 3 were fully vaccinated, 1 partially, and 97 unvaccinated. To date, 66,446 COVID-19 vaccines have been administered. And the general public is being advised that home COVID-19 rapid antigen test results will no longer be recognized by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment as sufficient for the official diagnosis of COVID-19 for the purposes of surveillance and the granting of sick leave by officers of the ministry. The ministry said persons experiencing flu-like symptoms who require official documentation for sick leave and NIS purposes are advised to contact their healthcare providers. The ministry is also reminding persons to seek care early, and that if symptoms worsen in a person who tested positive for COVID-19 with a rapid antigen test, the person is advised to contact their nearest flu clinic or private physician for reassessment, as persons can deteriorate rapidly if left unmanaged. The ministry said it will monitor the situation and provide further guidance and updates where necessary. The Traffic Department of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has recorded a decrease in motor vehicle accidents last year compared to 2020. Second in charge of the Traffic Department, Assistant Superintendent Parnell Brown, told SVG-TV News that the plans set out last year contributed to a reduction of over 100 motor vehicle accidents.
In 2021, we had 440 accidents reported to the Traffic Department in Kingston, in comparison to 463 in 2020. Also, there was a slight decrease in the amount of accidents reported to the Traffic Department during those periods. Likewise, for road fatality, we had 5 road fatality for the year 2021 and 5 road fatality for the year 2020. There wasn't any increase nor decrease. So I can safely say that the programs that the officers are involved in at mornings, the traffic talk programs and the programs that are being posted on the Facebook page, they are assisting us in making the roads of St. Vincent and the Grenadines safer for all the road users.
ASP Brown says there was also a notable decrease in the number of tickets issued by the department last year for motorists who broke traffic rules.
And in 2021, we issued 5,400 tickets. There was a decrease in the amount of tickets that were issued in 2021. The main contributory to these, the fewer tickets being issued in 2021 is the rise in COVID cases, where we were more focusing on preventing the rise in the COVID cases as to the amount of persons riding public service transport. We were just aim at enforcing the regulation given by the Ministry of Health. So there was a decrease in the amount of general tickets that were issued in 2021 in comparison to 2020. Because there was a SRNO that was established by the Ministry of Health and still is in place as to the amount of persons that should be riding public service transport. That caused a major decrease, and the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano in 2021 also. Hence, there was a decrease in the amount of tickets that were issued in 2021.
The Assistant Superintendent of Police commended his colleagues in the traffic department for a job well done in 2021.
I want to commend the persons working at the traffic department. They have been working day in, day out to enforce the protocols established by the Ministry of Health and the regulation as to what you can and cannot do. They have been sacrificing precious time away from their families, and I want to thank them very much. I want to encourage them to continue to work smart and work hard towards achieving the common goal. So on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, who is the licensing authority, Superintendent Kenneth Scratchy John, and myself, I want to wish all the persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in the region and the diaspora, a safe and productive 2022.